Board members, we have set aside an hour for this dialogue, and we will turn it over to you. Welcome and good morning.
Good morning. So can we assume that we have an hour, a full hour? Okay. Yeah, it is unfortunate that we're starting a little bit late. I mean, I know things happen, but it just kind of leaves us hanging and wondering. And today you have support staff who, have inventory to do, and kitchen workers and stuff. So there's a lot, kids to be taken care of, etc. So unfortunate that we're starting so late, but let's get going. So good morning, Board of Education Directors, Schooley, Miller, Reed, Barta, and Parker, and also Superintendent Dorland. We are pleased to be speaking with you all this morning. My name is Laura Center. I am a library paraprofessional and the president of the Jefferson County Education Support Professionals Association. Discipline and courage. These are the values we embrace at JESPA. Discipline and courage. Every job in this district is important as we take care of the needs of students in Jefferson County Public Schools. We take this very seriously. It is easy to get lulled into the routine of our days that meld into weeks and then turn into years. It takes discipline and effort to step back and see where we are as a district and as a state in meeting the promise of public education. Our students depend on us to provide them with the necessary tools and conditions to learn and grow so that one day they may do the same to the next generation. Today, you will hear from an impressive group of rank and file union members from each of our different job families in the JESPA bargaining unit. So proud to be here with these people. They will give you a peek into what they see in our schools and work sites. They will share with you what they experience as daily struggles in their work sites and how, try as they may, they are not able to adequately meet the needs of our students. So we're going to go ahead and start with Wally.
Hi, my name is Wally Maestric. I am a school bus driver for Jeffco from Central Transportation for 7 years. I live in Jefferson County and I am a 1970 graduate of Alameda High School. I'm also president of the Jefferson County Transportation Association and I represent school bus drivers, school bus assistants, transportation supervisors, trainers, and training assistants, and terminal administrators. Yes, we all know it's about the kids, but Jeffco school bus drivers and bus assistants get them there. 2 years ago, Greg Jackson appeared and presented to the board the need to increase wages for transportation, and more specifically for school bus drivers and school bus assistants. At that time, Jeffco Transportation had about 40 open staff positions, drivers and assistants. Now we have 70 plus open staff positions and are combining and cutting routes to get Jeffco kids to school and home. Routes are being eliminated. Some kids are getting to school late and to home late. Parents and schools are upset at transportation, and some more than others. We are the second largest school district in Colorado, yet we are the 7th highest in pay. Hiring new drivers is important, but retaining current bus drivers and bus assistants should be equally, if not more important. The fact that we have been losing drivers and assistants and not getting new hires should tell the board that we're not doing enough to retain these well-trained transportation professionals at Jeffco. We requested a $3 an hour pay increase for drivers and assistants so that we can retain all the current transportation staff and encourage new drivers and assistants to want to stay with Jeffco. But pay is not the only issue that needs to be done to retain drivers and employees in transportation. Proration, whereas our pay is spread out over 12 months. This reduces the monthly take-home pay. There are some benefits, but this should be optional to those who want it. Getting paid twice a month. It could be as long as 6 weeks before a new employee gets their first paycheck. Increase the monthly allowance paid for health insurance. Increase the number of days for paid time off based on seniority. Currently, we only get 2 days of personal leave a year. Longevity pay system, which after 7 years of service in Jeffco, yearly step increases become rare and provides no incentive to stay at Jeffco. I remember that Jefferson County Public Schools was the best employer to work for, with the best pay, best benefits, and the most opportunities to want to stay at Jeffco. Please increase our pay and benefits and transportation to make Jeffco that way.
Hello, my name is Xander Bednall. I'm the kitchen manager at Swanson Elementary School, as well as president of Jefferson County School Food Services Association. Congrats to the newly elected school board members. We hope your transition has been a smooth one so far. Kitchen workers love our students. We're often the first adults they see when they get to the school, and we never have to worry about grading them. We have the privilege of feeding them, and we can just be friendly and kind. But as many of you know, food service workers are struggling right now. With historic levels of understaffing, like all other ESP job categories, Jeffco has been forced to keep our kitchens running without the staff needed to run them successfully or safely. There are metrics besides volume of meals and junk food sales to measure school success in kitchens. We ought to consider, are all students getting fed? Are we having to turn away hungry students because we don't have enough kitchen staff to prep, serve, or cashier? Are we serving high quality food or prepackaged, unappetizing cold food? Are students actually eating the food that we serve? Or is it better for them to buy snacks and just go hungry? Many kitchens have been functioning with only one worker who is expected to feed hundreds of students throughout the day. Kitchen workers are getting shuffled around the district to support kitchens other than their home site. We are exhausted, demoralized, and many of us end up leaving because we can get paid a similar or higher rate somewhere else. We don't receive any extra compensation for this madness. We're just expected to keep doing it. We believe it's just as important to retain valued workers as it is to hire new ones, maybe more so. This is why kitchen workers are fighting for a $3 raise in solidarity with all JESPA locals to retain and attract quality staff. We can't take care of our students without sufficient staffing, and we can't realize sufficient staffing without sufficient pay. Another glaring concern for food service workers is the practice of having to stock our school kitchens with food products that are easy to prepare rather than healthy and nutritious for our students. Our menus are constantly changing to keep up with product shortages, and we currently have a lackluster rotation of yogurt, hummus, and chicken products. It's becoming a running joke with my building's facility manager. What kind of chicken are you having today? Simply put, school food is not what it used to be. Some of our neighboring counties like Denver and Boulder are shifting to scratch cooking and even growing their own vegetables, which gives me hope for us here in Jeffco. Our students deserve better than what we're serving them. And I do have hope for Jeffco. That's why I do this job. I believe we have a unique opportunity to provide children with nutritious, tasty meals and food security. We should never compromise our values when it comes to nutrition. If we need to sell junk food to earn $5.5 million to balance our food budget, then we need to find a way to raise $5.5 million so we don't have to sell this food to kids. When I sell cookies, chips, soda, and ice cream to students, the message is that I think it's perfectly fine for them to be eating that. I don't. I'm here because I care about my students. I don't want them eating heavily processed foods for lunch. Working in a school kitchen should not be an ethical or moral dilemma for kitchen managers, and we should feel good about the food that we're serving students. The nourishment we provide will help them learn in their classes for the rest of the day. If a student assessments are your concern, the foundation for a healthy student is a healthy meal. We look forward to the collaboration required to make these things possible.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Andrea, and I've been a kitchen manager for about 6 years. I've been a Jeffco employee for 21 years. I've done all that my department has asked of me and more. And I've been a team player, so have my coworkers, as I sold numerous snacks to my kinder through 6th and 5th graders. In these past 5 to 6 years, our program has become more about profit from our students' health than our students profiting from our products to be healthy. We should be a lunch program. We're not. We should have the funding to provide a lunch program for our students. We should not brag about making $5.5 million in a la carte. And a la carte should just be school food, but it's not. These past years have been trying for all in our district. Our students are resilient, and our long-term staff, loyal employees, are loyal to their students. The relationships formed daily between staff and students is life-changing, as they support each other daily and sometimes into a student's adult life. I am blessed to have such relationships with my students from the past and the present. With the lack of staff, our students are standing in long lines the entire lunchtime, leading them to choking down their food or going without the item of their choosing, returning to class hungry, or crashing from the vending machine's sugar rush. We need a better system for our students. I worry for my paras as I struggle to watch the students, as they struggle to watch their students, because they are understaffed, leaving our students uncared for properly. Sometimes there's a student sitting at a table crying. Nobody knows why, and he feels alone. It's not right. I worry as our FM struggles to keep up with the cleaning process. While kids are getting sick, lunch still goes on. He's being pulled all different ways. I watch our students stressed, waiting for the bus to pick them up from school. It's not good for them. It has been a different world, and administration is failing and falling short of the goals for our students and our staff. It has been very difficult to watch 21 years now. I have no power to change what the administration has been failing to do for 21 years. This is clear indication that every ESP job category is essentially vital work, and that we have been harmed as a community because of the understaffing and the lack of respect for our positions. And I hope for a school district that can be proud of how it treats its community, from its students to its educators to its education support staff. You have the opportunity. You have the opportunity now to make Jeffco that school district, that amazing school district that we remember 21 years ago. It was amazing. You have an amazing staff and so much knowledge in your employees that I'm so excited that you invited us to work with you, because we do feel like we're out there alone, and our students are our treasure. That's what keeps us coming back. We are never going to make $50,000 working for this company. We all understand that, but we want to be treated with respect. Then we want our students to be treated with respect. Appreciate your time.
Good morning. My name is Doreen Edstrom. I am a principal secretary at Campbell Elementary and the vice president of JESPA. I have been with Jeffco for 26 years. I'd like to address the staffing shortages that are occurring in Jeffco and the impact that it's having on our children. I'm specifically speaking to the shortage of paraeducators today. Paraeducators are very special employees who provide critical support to our most fragile and impacted students and their teachers. These children become very attached to and rely on their school caregivers. Familiarity and consistency is the key to success with these kiddos, and a change in their life is not usually handled well. For instance, when their paraeducator leaves. My school houses a high needs program. We've had 3 to 4 intensive support paraeducator positions go unfilled since the beginning of the school year. I say 3 to 4 because we were able to hire someone for one of the positions in October. She was a one-to-one for a student who is nonverbal and autistic. She spent 7 hours each day forming a relationship with the student and he with her and assisting him. And 1 month later, she resigned. She was offered a position with her former company that paid more. She didn't want to leave. She had formed a relationship with the student and she felt terrible, but she wasn't able to turn the pay increase down. We had another student enrolled who had severe social, emotional, and behavioral needs who was actually waiting for a spot to open at a state facility. The student was supposed to have a one-to-one intensive support paraeducator so that he could attend school while waiting, but the position never got filled. This student did try coming to school on 3 separate occasions, but was unable to function in the classroom setting without the appropriate staffing. He missed 33 days of school before being placed in another program. Paraeducators are vital to the safety and the care of our students. They provide not only classroom support, but are responsible for managing the personal needs of these students. These tasks may include, but aren't limited to, bathroom assistance, diapering, and feeding. They are also required to apply de-escalation strategies, which may include performing physical restraints. The starting pay for a paraeducator, $16.25 per hour. It's simply not enough to recruit and retain these essential employees.
Hello, my name is Jennifer Munoz. I'm a Jeffco parent and a Jeffco employee. I would first like to address you as a concerned parent. A few weeks ago, I received a phone call from my daughter letting me know that she had not had lunch because the lines were too long and there wasn't any food left by the time it was her turn to pick her meal. The only thing my daughter could focus on for the rest of the day was how hungry she was. It is bad enough that this same situation happened once, but it actually happened twice after that. It makes me wonder how many other students went hungry on those same occasions as my daughter. Parents send their children to school trusting that they will have their basic needs met and be treated with respect and dignity. By extension, we assume that the school district is taking care of school employees so that they can take care of our children. Students not eating during their lunch break is a matter of kitchens not being properly staffed. When my daughter went hungry, it was suggested I pack a cereal bar for her in case that situation happened again. The truth is, this should never happen to any child. And as an employee, I am concerned about the lack of respect from administrators towards ESPs. As the JESPA building representative for the Ed Center and vice president of the Association for Education and Office Professionals, I hear stories from many ESPs regarding inequities, injustices, lack of compassion, and on top of it all, ESPs receive judgmental, unprofessional, and hurtful remarks. I myself have heard several administrators say, we have to be mindful and sensitive to the living situations of our students and give them grace and support. And I agree with that 100%. However, I also believe Jeffco needs to be mindful and sensitive to the living and working conditions of their staff. Many ESPs are living paycheck to paycheck, having to work multiple jobs, and some even experience homelessness. They lose loved ones, go through divorce, have chronic or fatal illnesses, and struggle with depression. All of these life struggles are made worse when we don't have proper insurance or livable wages to help buffer the pain. I've heard many administrators say they appreciate ESPs, but certificates of recognition and high fives don't pay our bills. We need more to stay at the jobs we love and want to continue doing. It's time to focus on ESP positions and show us how much you truly appreciate us. especially those of us who have been loyal to our students, communities, and Jeffco for many years. To summarize, I'd like to remind us all that we are in the business of education. The priority for this district should be the well-being of students, not how much money the district saves by not fully staffing the schools. I understand that we have many positions advertised, but we are not going to get out of this mess until those positions are paid respectable, realistic, and sustainable wages. Being in the business of education also means keeping our students and staff healthy, which means we should focus on providing healthy meals, not pushing sales of unhealthy junk food items. Our students are vulnerable human beings and should not be used to fill gaps and budget shortfalls. Call me radical if you want, but I believe that if students cannot always have healthy homes, we should always provide healthy schools for them. I draw the line at students falling through the cracks and ESPs not being taken care of. Where does Jeffco draw the line? Jeff?
Hello, my name is Jeff Miller, and I've worked for Jeffco for 16 years, and I also have 2 children enrolled in the district. I've enjoyed my work, and despite the recent budgetary hardships, I continue to enjoy my job. I work in facilities grounds maintenance as an irrigation tech. I am also vice president of the Maintenance Association and represent our interests today. Under JCMA, we represent a diverse number of positions and trades, including plumbers, HVAC, environmental services, mechanics, and grounds maintenance. And I don't know if y'all noticed my crew out there working as he came in during the squall. And I tell you the truth, I feel more comfortable working out there than I do sitting right here. I'll keep going. Like many departments in Jeffco, we have severe issues with staffing shortages. Some of the issues have to do with people leaving because they can make more money elsewhere. And it seems Jeffco won't or can't compete with these ongoing wages. So then we are stuck with staffing shortages. And these shortages negatively affect employees in several ways. One major one is safety. We have people working by themselves, and we should have 2 or more people doing the work. Another issue is just fatigue and job burnout from carrying these extra workloads. In my own department, one major effect of short staffing is the snow removal. For the last few years, it is clear we do not have the staffing to cover open routes, and there have been many times not all routes are completed at the start of school, which is a major safety concern. An inability to finish snow removal has forced a snow day in prior years that could have been avoided had there been proper staffing. And in conclusion, I am confident we can all come up with some effective strategies to fix these staffing concerns. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Lucia Orlando. I have worked in a Title I Jeffco school that I love for the past 8 years as a special education paraprofessional. I am a proud member of JESPA and serve as vice president of the Paraprofessionals Association. I am also a Jeffco parent with 2 daughters who have attended Jeffco schools since preschool. Last year, I had a 6th grader who was struggling with math and reading. I was remote teaching. He had worked with me since 4th grade. Every day, he insisted on giving up his lunch break, as I did, to read with me. He excelled last year because I was there for him. This is just a glimpse of what we do as paras. These days, it feels like we're on the Titanic and the ship is sinking fast. There are those of us who are struggling to support our students and coworkers, but we are hanging on by a thread. And for some, it's all too much, and they jump ship and leave, which only further compounds the problem. Paras feel guilty calling in sick or using a personal day, and so we don't. As paras, we are asked to fill in gaps in staffing while still attending to our own duties. We are expected to cover extra lunches and recess at the last moment because we have a shortage of paras. The shortage of paras means Jeffco is failing our students and putting them at great educational, physical, and emotional risk. We have students who run away from school. We have students who are having great difficulty self-regulating their emotions, and therefore act out in violent ways towards themselves, the staff, and the physical classroom. Students depend on us when we are pulled from our regular classroom and small group duties to help fill in gaps with lunch and recess. It affects our students who trust and feel safe with us. It takes us away from the students who need us most, our special education students. We administer MAP and CMAS testing. We comfort students. We help them with mental health crises, yet we don't feel respected by the administration or the district. We have elopers at our school. A fellow para colleague followed a student that left the building and he threw a rock at her face, causing her to have multiple seizures. Safety is a huge issue. I can't express to you how many fires and potential fires we put out on a daily basis. We are able to do this because of our close relationships and trust we have built with our students. It is difficult to say, but this may be my last year working in Jeffco because of the current staffing crisis.
Hello. First, I wanted to introduce you to my son, Caleb, future student of Jeffco. My name is Ricky Martinez, and I'm a night facility manager. I've been working at Jeffco for over 14 years. Custodial services has been shorthanded for the last decade. Right now, you can go on the jobs board and see there are constantly 50 or more jobs open at any given time. This was not how it used to be 10 years ago. A fully staffed high school had 11 custodians, but now you're lucky if you have 5. And those 5, they're being asked to clean 2 buildings in a shift. The demand upon us is to do in 4 hours what takes 8 hours. And what is the plan for a building assessment if you've been short 500 man hours this year? I don't know. We don't have one. We're overworked and underpaid. What adds more to our shortage is people who cannot take time off for fear of letting their coworkers and failing their community. What's worse is that an FM I know was denied bereavement leave to mourn the loss of a parent because the department could not find relief for him. He has yet to be able to grieve his loss to this day. It is clear to me that FMs and custodians are not valued by Jeffco, even in the middle of a pandemic. Jeffco has not deemed our work necessary enough to respect our ability to take personal leave. Jeffco has not moved to action to fill positions long left vacant. Where is the money that ought to be spent on wages? When will Jeffco find the money necessary to make being an ESP a sought-after job in any department? I urge this board to view us as human beings who have limitations and lives beyond our work in Jeffco. Newly elected board members, find the money you promised to us in October so that Jeffco can retain its current talented staff and can attract the best candidates so that we no longer suffer as a result of short staffing.
My name is Hannah Morrow. I'm an early childhood instructional partner at Rosestein International Elementary and a proud member of JESPA. Jeffco's short staffing issues has not only negatively effects on K-12, but has also created a spectrum of issues in preschool classrooms. Many of these issues stem from the lack of qualified adults present in the classroom. Colorado state licensing regulations aim to keep our youngest, most vulnerable students safe during the school day. There are established mandates requiring certain teacher-to-student ratios be upheld, yet these state requirements are being broken in classrooms all over the district. Because sub-availability is almost non-existent, this is most noticeably happening when one of the 2 classroom teachers is out for an emergency. One teacher told me that she gets through days without coverage by depriving herself of food and water so that she won't have to use the bathroom. When educators are alone without coverage, they have to improvise in ways they shouldn't ever have to be asked to. Another preschool ESP was left to care for her students alone when one needed a diaper change. Because she was the only adult watching the children and her classroom does not have a bathroom, she was forced to walk all of the kids down the hallway, cram 16 kids into the bathroom, and change the student in front of the entire class. She explained to me how worried she was about the potentially negative impacts this would have on the child who was physically exposed to their classmates, but without coverage, she had no other option. Schools do not have staff to spare to respond to emergencies in preschool classrooms. We're hearing from preschool educators more than ever that they are getting physically injured by children. Many of them believe that their classrooms are not safe. Because licensing standards are being broken, I think it is safe to say that the state would agree understaffed classrooms are unsafe. The staffing shortage is causing preschool teachers to feel unsupported, unsafe, and burnt out. Some have described feeling abused by administration leadership and that they do not think they can handle another year of this. If the staffing shortage continues, it will keep hurting Jeffco's youngest learners and will cause the loss of even more desperately needed educators.
Hello, my name is Sarah Smith. I'm an ECI, or an early childhood instructor. I've been with Jeffco for 24 years. My co-teacher and I both have our teaching licenses, but we are in a non-licensed position. We choose to do that. Our classroom currently has a child with cerebral palsy who is highly impacted while moving through the classroom and using educational tools. He is nonverbal and he is not independent in the bathroom. My co-teacher and I have reached out to our site ECSP about getting extra classroom support for him in addition to the minutes that he receives for motor, speech, vision, and the regular special ed services. All of those specialists agreed that he would benefit from the added one-on-one support on a day-to-day basis. He underwent an informal assessment and was observed briefly by the Assistant Director of Special Education North Area in mid-October, and again briefly, 20 minutes or less, in early November. She said she was familiar with him from a prior assessment the year before. When I asked the Assistant Director of Special Ed what the likelihood of receiving a support person for him was, she said it was highly unlikely. She continued and said even if he did qualify, there simply was not coverage for him. She told me that she was hesitant to qualify him because once it was on an IEP that he had qualified for the added support, then they were obligated to provide it. That meant if his support person called out, then the office would need to scramble to ensure that he had someone with him for that day. That broke me. He remains without support.
So that concludes our presentation, and we would like to turn it over to you all if you have any questions or comments for us.
Thanks so much. I just a couple of thoughts, and then I will turn it over to my colleagues here to begin the dialogue with you all. One is that, as you very eloquently said, Jennifer, that it's doesn't make everything better to have someone fist bump or say, I appreciate you, I respect you. But I do nonetheless want to tell you all how important the work that you do for our kids is, for my kids that are in Jeffco, from the time they get on the bus in the morning to the lunches they eat at school to the professional supports that they get throughout the day. So I know it doesn't make any of this better, but I wanted to extend my thanks sincerely to all of you. The other thing I will just throw out there, and this is similar to when we were able to meet with some of your colleagues in JCEA recently, that there is a lot of communication that I think is potential for us to be able to have more consistently so that we understand one another, so that we are making decisions that are informed by what's happening in our schools, what's happening before our kids get to school in the morning and through the end of their day. So we can have that conversation about what that could look like, but I want to let you know that similar to with JCEA members, there's a lot, I think, of potential for us to expand how we're able to communicate with one another and really make sure that we're doing so in a way that's honoring the work that you're doing and the perspective you bring to us. So I will leave it there for right now. And I don't, Ms. Barda, do you want to begin our dialogue?
I somehow always go first. Thank you for being here. A lot of the stories that you told are ones that I'm also hearing from my own kids. I don't have all the answers. I don't have any answers at the moment. So I do think that you made a really good case today. And I think the connection between, you made a connection between achievement and food. And I think that's the kind of way that we need to continue to think about this kind of issue, is the connections between what's so important to so many people, achievement of our kids, but these upstream ways that that's impacted. And so I think I really appreciate the way that you were able to kind of paint that picture. I had a question. You said there's 2 days of PTO. I think, can you talk about that a little bit more?
Yeah, all we have in transportation for any of the 185 folks that do work for transportation, get 2 days of paid time off. And that's all we have the whole year. And we could look at something better, I think, to maybe retain our employees and stuff like that. But 2 days doesn't give hardly anybody any spare time to take care of a doctor's appointment. And you know how it is to get a doctor's appointment, even though we do have a lot of middays free, you're at the will of the doctor to get in there. So many folks are taking those days, not as sick days, but as paid time off.
Thank you. I'm going to pass it off, but thanks for being here.
Ms. Muller, do you have any questions or comments?
Yeah, once again, thank you all for joining us this morning, and I appreciate your context of, I know we started a little bit late and everybody is definitely pushed in time, so I appreciate the grace that you've given us. I also want to thank you all for the stories, because they do help frame in our minds, I think, what is happening in our classrooms. We hear about it, we get emails a lot. But being able to actually hear the voices is critical for us, I think, to understand what you are going through. And I know that we are not unique. Jeffco is not unique in terms of staffing challenges. I think all companies right now and organizations are finding the lack of people to come and help and come work with us. So I appreciate your dedication to our children, because frankly, the continuity is critical for them. And that's your voices and your presence in our classrooms or on bus drivers or out and about with our sites and the work that's done there. So thank you for your time. And I think we've heard this for a couple of years now in terms of need of compensation and living wage, et cetera. So that's certainly on our minds. So thank you very much for coming this morning.
Okay, Ms. Parker.
Yes, I'd like to echo the thanks for you taking your time to be here today. I hope this is just the start of continuing conversations and help that we can give you. I also want to thank you for your emphasis on how you are so close to our students. You really do have that one-on-one connection if you're on the school bus or you're in the cafeteria line. And I think it's so important. I like the comment that you're not grading the students, so there's no conflict there. There's no judgment in either direction. And I want to say that there's such an emphasis now on the mental health of our students. We hear it all the time. And I think there's
this thought that the only way we can help the students is from getting in some psychologists and some professionals for therapy. But I think we need to realize that if we can get our support personnel the help and support they need, then they can create that environment for the students. And I know that you have mentioned already, you see a student crying in the cafeteria, but if you're busy feeding kids, you can't go over and ask what's happening. So if we just have enough support personnel in our schools, it can make such a difference to the mental health for our kids. We right now only have like one measure, and that's like school testing results that tell us how well our students are doing and how well our school district is doing. And that's simply not enough, and it's not even, I would say, the most important measure that we have. So I want to thank you for bringing that constantly to our attention. And then I just have one question for anybody. You guys have been here for so long. I appreciate that. Thank you for sticking with our kids. Can you identify, other than COVID and all the impact that it's had on across the industries, can you identify a point at which you feel that your respect went down, or the resources and help that you needed went down over 20 years if you've been here, or 15 years?
Do you mind just turning your microphone on? Only because, no, the floor is yours. I just want to make sure we can hear you.
Thank you. 21 years.
So from the beginning?
From the beginning. I don't know who's in charge of my district or my operations, but the lack of respect shown for 21 years is pretty pathetic. And why am I still here for 21 years? Because I love my students. I truly do. You were teachers. I sent them back all sugared up. You couldn't teach them. It's not fair. Something's wrong. Who's ever running our program, something's wrong. That's why I'm here. I wouldn't be here if it was right. I wouldn't be in a union. We wouldn't have a union if what was supposed to be done was being done. But for 21 years, no. Thank you.
And I would just add, for me, a lot of it was after watching bargaining sessions, not just, like JESPA and Jeffco, but, JCEA and Jeffco, the bargaining sessions, some of the comments that were thrown, and I think it's not that they're just directed at the people that are at the bargaining table. They come here representing all ESPs. And when there's a disrespectful remark being thrown at somebody at this table, it's being thrown at every single one of us. And there's a few remarks that I still remember that I would like to get an apology for. Even though I wasn't here physically at the table, I was listening from home. And I do not appreciate that at all.
Thank you for bringing up that point. Thank you, because I'm what am I? I'm the vice president of my association, of my entity. Sorry about that. And I get calls all the time, especially after bargaining, and they're very furious with the responses that administration puts out. They have a lot to say, but they're afraid to come to the table for fear of losing their job. We don't feel essential. We feel picked on. But their remarks ring hard in the souls of those people who are on the front lines representing your company. Should be representing your district, but we feel like we're representing a company because the bottom line isn't our students. They like to argue for the sake of arguing. If they don't like it here, they could go work somewhere else. It's remarks like that that ring in our employees' ears, and you can't take it back, but you can fix it.
Right, and I will just add to that, I did hear a lot of, if you don't like working here, then go work somewhere else. Well, a lot of people did, and look where that got us. And like I said, being the vice president of JSOP and working in this building, I hear a lot of stories from a lot of people, and none of them gave me permission to share their stories because of retaliation. And it's real, it happened. And it's sad that they have to keep on living this way and taking the, like I said, disrespectful remarks because of retaliation.
For me, I began with preschool in 1997. I was very happy with the ELO, the Early Learning Office. It was a family. I felt respected. We had voices. The director came and visited the sites regularly. We could reach out at any time. It was very connected. And that I felt that way up through Marcy. And then there's been a change. And now it feels more like it's corporate and it's money driven and not child driven. And that's heartbreaking. And that's what I see.
I want to make sure I'm not cutting anyone else off if you have more to share. Okay. Thank you, Ms. Parker. Ms. Reed.
So, along with everyone else, I want to thank you for what you do. I was a classroom teacher for 30 years. I know that you guys are the backbone of our schools. And it breaks my heart to hear you say over and over that you feel fundamentally disrespected. We know that students learn better when they feel that they are part of a community. And when you don't support the support of your community, your students are left without support. So this is really critical. And I do want you to know that I hear that. And my hope is that that our superintendent and that our other administrators here are also hearing this. And it's really important to me that you feel like you can talk to people who are leaders in your particular department. You should not fear retaliation. You should be able to tell them what is going right and what is going wrong. You're the eyes and ears in the schools. How will we know if you can't tell us? So I am issuing an invitation to you that if you feel like you have said what you need to say to the right person and it simply hasn't worked, would you just let me know? Send me an email. And I can't say that I'm going to get right on that because that's not my job. But I can certainly talk with the superintendent and say, you know, here's the feedback that I'm getting. Because I know that having been an educator for 30 years, sometimes people will say things to me that they won't say to people who haven't been in schools for a long time. So, you know, then I can pass that on and we can make sure it gets to the right person. And we can make sure that there's some good conflict resolution around that. So like I said, it's really important that you know, I'm not going to run to that person and say, you know, snap to, because that's not my place. And I would be grievously overstepping my place to do that. But it does allow me to perhaps start some conversations that maybe need to start. And all the respect in the world does not keep a roof over your head and does not support your families. And I am fully cognizant of that. And I think across the board in education, I hear whether we're talking about teachers or secretaries or food service people or transportation work, it doesn't matter. All kinds of positions, I hear people saying over and over, if you don't like it, go somewhere else. And I can tell you, as the mother of 2 millennials, that this is how millennials get pay raises these days. They leave where they work and go to someone who will pay more. How is that good for our students? It's not. So I am very, very cognizant of that fact. And that will be something that I'm carrying with me. Thank you so much for coming and for being honest with us today.
I wasn't sure if there was another comment. I saw a couple of hand raised. Do you want to add anything else? I just want to make sure that voices are heard around the table.
Thank you. I'm just I'm one of those employees living paycheck to paycheck, and every month, I budget, what I value, which is food, the roof over my child's head, those really important things. And so, if we're being told that we're valued, I would like the district to budget for us as well, and show that you value us in that way.
Miss Reed, thank you. But we have talked to people. We have voiced our concerns. We have spoke up. That's why we're here today, because we have been bullied by speaking up. To say that if something happens again, well, no, there is no more again. There is now. You now know. You are the one we are talking to. We're letting you know we have issues, and we need to work together to get them resolved. Thank you.
So I just have a couple of comments and then some closing comments as well. Did anybody else? Are you guys good? Okay, cool. Yeah, so I think Ms. Parker, I think it was a comment that you made about the mental health. I take that one really to heart. That, as a para who is out on the playground with kids for years, and where they're more loose and they really tell you what's going on and they trust their paras, they see us as different than their teacher. Their teacher is busy teaching them. But when we're out in the playground or if we're in the cafeteria, we really have opportunities to connect with kids and to elevate concerns. We are not counselors. Some of us are, but we are not there to counsel them, but we could very much elevate concerns if we see, concerning behavior out on the playground, and we do see things like that. The problem is that we are not trained. Douglas County brings their paraprofessionals in 2 days early in August for a day of training and a day, actually, I think it's 2 days of training. Jefferson County Public Schools does not give substantive training to their paras. And we could help kids out at recess. That kid that has a headache every day at recess. Why do you have a headache every day? We can be mental health supports. A good friend is mental health support. So we very much, to train paras, to be able to meet the needs of kids and to be able to elevate concerning behavior or a concerning comment, we are not trained. And I've been in my seat 5 years. I've been begging for this for 5 years. We need to train our paras, and we could be mental health supports to kids, and they need it right now. They need it more than ever. And when you train employees, that shows you respect them. And it shows that you value that they've got skills to help our kids get through life and to get through, what they need. And I have hit brick wall after brick wall. That's why the one-on-one conversations, asking for things from people does not work. Doesn't work. That's why we have to take a union approach to everything. Doesn't work. Y'all aren't hearing us. Or you're hearing, but then nothing happens when it's time to take a vote. So I appreciate our time here today. I love these people. And I tell them that all the time. I love these people. And I love the people I don't even know, because we get hired on with the district because a lot of us love our own kids, and what we don't realize until we get in there is we love all these kids. But we need to be trained, and we need to be paid, and we need to be respected. And I do want to say that I have worked under 5 different principals in my tenure, and some of them were excellent, and they were very respectful. It exists. There are some amazing principals in this district and top leadership. So I'd also like to go back to I think it was what you were saying, Stephanie, Ms. Cooley, that I really would like for you guys to go out with us. We are in schools every single week. And it really, oh my gosh, makes our people feel good when they see people come and take the time to visit. But when you guys come, the VIPs of the district, you're getting the dog and pony show. These schools are killing themselves to make sure there isn't a piece of fluff on the carpet when you come in. I would recommend you sneak away and come with us we always let the principals know when we come, but you should just come. Dress down and come see what's really going on in our schools. And it's amazing. Every time I visit a school, I'm so glad I did it. It's just amazing. So let me see if there was anything else. Kind of went off script. Let's see. So I just like to say, I believe that you all want to see what's really going on, because you all are the top decision makers in the district. You all have individual minds. You all have individual opinions. We expect dissent up there on that podium. If there isn't dissent, we're not doing good democracy stuff. So we would love to have you come out with us. You know, if you guys are getting the dog and pony show, that is a disservice to staff and kids, because you are not seeing what's really going on. And if you don't see what's going on, there's no reason to fix anything in your mind, you know, when you're making decisions and voting on things. Our students are counting on you, directors of the school board. I want to call you directors. I no longer want to call you school board members. You are directors of this district. And we need you to be champions for our children. They are counting on you to demand creativity from your top administration when you're told that hard times are coming and there's no money. JCEA and JESPA know that is not true. Our kids need to have humans on the ground taking care of them right now. So when they tell you that hard times are coming and there's no money, we need you to push back and ask some hard questions. So I'd like to end with a quote from Dr. Jane Goodall, chimpanzee researcher and enthusiast, who said, "What you do makes a difference, and you have to decide what kind of difference you want to make." Please let us know how we can support you in your work. Welcome to the school board, new members. And I guess that concludes our program.
Thank you all very much for being here. We greatly appreciate your time, and we look forward to continued conversations in the near future. Thank you.